for a little while now, and this is a new thing where, like, late at night on the street, women will see me as a threat. That is funny, yeah. That is funny. It's kind of flattering in its own way, but at the same time it's weird, because, like, I'm still afraid of being kidnapped, you know? But I'll give you the best example of this. A couple months ago, I'm at a subway station in Long Island City, Queens. Ooh, yeah, do go if you get the chance. A beautiful place. I'm changing between subway trains, right? And it's 2 o'clock in the morning, okay? And you have to walk down this long corridor in order to change trains. 2 o'clock in the morning, it's just me and this woman. And she's walking a few yards ahead of me, and we're walking down, and she starts giving me, like, the over-the-shoulder, like that, you know, like looking. And then she starts to pick up the pace. She starts to walk a lot faster. So I think, oh, she must hear the train coming. You know, or she feels it in her feet, like a Native American in a movie. So I start to sprint down the hallway at her, and she looks back and she's like, ah! And then she gives chase, so now we're like booking it down the corridor at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm gaining on her. I'm gaining on her, and we're getting to the end of the hallway, and she's going into that like dead end shuffle, you know, that women do when you chase them. And I'm almost there. I'm almost at her, and then it dawns on me. Oh, she's running from me. Because in her eyes, I'm an adult. And adults rape each other. Kind of a lot. So I wanted to go up to her and be like, whoa, no. I'm not like a, you know, I'm not a man, you know? I'm just some stupid punk, right? But I think that that would be equally creepy. As if you were in a subway station at 2 o'clock in the morning and I chased you down, grabbed you and said, I'm not gonna rape you. I'm a little boy. People wouldn't like that either.
Another story I heard about myself. This one happened in high school. We had this teacher in high school whose kid went to our high school. His name was Mr. McNamara, and his son Jake McNamara went to our high school. He was a sophomore when I was a senior, so he was 2 years behind me. And Mr. McNamara was an asshole. And one weekend, he and his wife decided to leave town, which you should never do if you're an asshole. And Jake McNamara decided to throw a party at the teacher's house. Hooray! And everyone around town heard about it, and we all got up individually and thought, okay, let's go over there and destroy the place. I walked into this party, everyone I had ever met was there, and everyone was drinking like it was the end of the world. People were drinking like it was the Civil War and a doctor was coming to saw our legs off. It was totally unsupervised. We were like dogs without horses. We were running wild. I walked down to the basement. They had a pool table in the basement. One dude took a running start and threw his body onto the pool table and broke it in half. Another kid found out which room was Mr. McNamara's and went upstairs and took a shit on his computer. So the party was going great. I'm standing in the basement, and I'm holding a red cup. You've seen movies. And I'm standing there, and I'm holding a red cup, and I'm starting to black out. And I guess someone said, like, something, something, police. And in a brilliant moment of word association, I yelled, fuck the police! Fuck the police! And everyone else joined in. 100 drunk white children yelling, fuck the police. With the confidence of guys who have like already been to jail and aren't afraid of it anymore. You know, that like, I serve my nickel, you come and take me confidence. But white children. The reason someone had said something something police was because the police were there. So a Chicago police officer walked down the stairs and got to the bottom in the basement and looked out over a sea of drunk toddlers yelling, "Fuck the police," in his face. And he was almost impressed. He was like, wow. And then he leaned into his walkie-talkie and went, "Get the paddy wagon." And my friend John, who is now a father, this man now has a baby, he grabbed a 40, smashed it on the ground, and yelled, "Scatter!" And everyone ran in a different direction. We all ran in different directions. It was like that scene in Ratatouille when the humans come in the kitchen and all the rats go in different ways. We all ran in different directions. I ran into the laundry room and I jumped up on the washing machine and I crawled out through a window into the backyard, and now I'm running through the backyard and there was this big chain link fence and I thought, I've never climbed a fence that high before. And then I woke up at home. On Monday, I went to school because that's what we did back then. And I'm walking into the school building, and who do I see but Jake McNamara? And he says to me, "Hey, were you at my party on Saturday?" And I said, "No." You know, like a liar. And he said, "Things got really out of hand. Someone broke the pool table. Someone took a shit on my dad's computer. But the worst thing," he says, "the worst thing is that someone stole these old antique photos of my grandmother, and my parents are freaking out about it." And I had that thought that only blackout drunks and Steve Urkel can have. Did I do that? I figured, no, I wouldn't have done that. But I was never sure until 2 years later. Relax. I'm playing video games with this kid named Alex that we also went to high school with. It's 2 years later, we've graduated by now. We're playing video games for a couple hours. And then Alex says to me, "Hey, come here, I want to show you something." And he takes me into his bedroom. And then he takes me into a side room off of his bedroom. Never a good thing to have. And he shows me a tiny room that is covered wall to wall in stolen antique photos from different people's parties over the years. And I said, "Why? Why do you do this?" And Alex said, "Because it's the one thing you can't replace." My dad loved us, he just didn't care about our general happiness or self-esteem. I remember one time, we were really little kids. I have 2 sisters and a brother, and all 4 of us were in a family car ride for 3 hours going to Wisconsin. My dad was driving, going down the highway in our white van with wood around the side. Because you remember when you wanted your car to be made of wood? You remember that era? Where we were like, how much wood can we get on this car without it catching on fire? But then the big announcement, we here at Plymouth Chrysler can put a saucy stripe of wood safely on the outside of your car for all those times you've looked at your minivan and thought, it needs a belt. So we're going on the highway. We've been on the road for like 3 hours. And in the distance, we see a McDonald's. We see the Golden Arches. And we got so excited. We started chanting, "McDonald's, McDonald's, McDonald's, McDonald's." And my dad pulled into the drive-thru, and we started cheering. And then he ordered 1 black coffee for himself. And kept driving. And you know, as mad as that made me as a little kid, in retrospect, that is the funniest thing I have ever seen in my entire life. How perfect is that? He had a van load of little kids, and he got black coffee, the one thing from McDonald's no child could enjoy. My dad is cold-blooded. He once shushed a kid during Lion King on Broadway. That actually happened.
We were at Lion King on Broadway, and there was a 5-year-old behind us going, "Look, it's Pumbaa! Look, it's Timon!" And my dad turned around and said, "Are you going to talk the entire time?" He's my hero.
You actually glossed over one of my favorite parts is because I sometimes go to those beaches, you know, you just go to the tent.
yeah.
And you thought it would be fun to propose on the beach.
Yeah, we had been at a beach. So we're from New York. You know, I don't know the layout that well in LA. I know that Malibu is nice from the 80s. So I thought, what's nicer than something that was nice a long time ago? So I drove with my fiance Anna, or my girlfriend at that moment, and I went to this beach off the PCH next to this restaurant called Gladstone's. Now, in fairness to me, we had been at that beach a couple weeks ago and the sun was setting and it was beautiful, you know, and I thought if I had a ring, I'd propose right now. On the day that I took her, the beach was, I don't know how to phrase this, crawling with homeless people. Literally, like one person, like in the beginning of Monty Python Holy Grail, was just digging in sand, angrily trying to dig to China, and we started walking. And, you know, and part of me was like, is this funny if I propose here? We're walking, there's a guy, and we get to a point where I'm like, I think in the next 10 yards we might have some clear space. We might have a window.
A window, yeah.
Between maniacs. And then a shirtless man walks to the edge of the ocean and goes, "Rah!" And Anna said, "There are a lot of other beaches in Malibu." And I said, "That's right." And so we got back in the car and we drove way further down to another small beach. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God. So she was wise.
She was very wise.
I mean, she knew. I'm using it like the...
She knew I was going to propose? Yeah. Do you remember how she knew? No, she knew what was up because I was like, you know, we got... Look, it was a disaster. I got on, we started driving and I said, we're not going to the airport. You know, I thought we'd spend one more day in LA. And like, I have never done any kind of surprise before. So right away, it was just dead silence in the car. And she was like, okay. And then it takes a while to get from Los Feliz to Malibu, apparently. So we sat in silence in the car. Luckily, my manager kept calling to say my pilot hadn't been picked up.
Like I travel alone sometimes, you know, and I'll put up with anything, you know. Like I'll book a ticket on some garbage airline, you know. I don't want to name an actual airline, so let's just make one up. Let's call it like Delta Airlines. So I'll book a ticket on Delta Airlines, and I'll show up at the airport, and I go, "Can I get on the plane now, please?" And they go, "No, it's delayed 9 hours." And I go, "Okay," and then I go to the bathroom. And then I come out of the bathroom and I go, "Any updates?" And they go, "Yeah, we took off while you were in the bathroom because we hate you. Now take this meal voucher that doesn't work. Go, fetch." And I go, "Okay," and I go over to the Wolfgang Puck Express and I go, "Can I have a sandwich, please?" And they go, "No!" And I go, "Okay." And they go, "You're a little fat girl, aren't you?" And I go, "No." And they go, "Say it." And I go, "I'm a little fat girl." And then I go over to the Delta Help Desk, which is an oxymoron, and I go, "Can I please go home on an airplane?" And they go, "No. In fact, we're gonna frame you for murder. And you're gonna go to jail for 30 years. And I go, "Why are you doing this to me?" And they go, "Because we're Delta Airlines, and life is a fucking nightmare." But with my girlfriend, she would just be like, "Let's see if Southwest has any flights." So it's better. I talked to a lot of people before I got engaged, you know, and I heard this expression about whether or not you should get married. This is an old expression. People say this. They say, "Why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free?" You ever heard that before? It's a bananas insulting expression to an entire gender. But also, it makes no sense. Why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free? You're not allowed to milk a cow that you don't own. That's not even a situation. Was that a problem at one point? Like in the dairy community?
Was that happening like 100 years ago in some village? Some Dutch prick was sneaking in at night being like, ah ha ha, I take your milk. And the farmer was like, well then this is your cow now. And he was like, no, no proof of purchase. And he ran off into the night. That sounded Dutch, right? You know what that expression means? It means why would you marry a woman if she's already having sex with you? Which has nothing to do with what relationships are even like anymore. Now it's like, why buy the cow, question mark? Maybe because every day the cow asks you when you're gonna buy it, and you live in a really small apartment with the cow, so you can't avoid that question at all. And also the cow is way better at arguing than you are, and the cow grew up in a family that knows how to argue. Why buy the cow, question mark? Maybe because every time another cow gets bought, you have to go to the sale, and you have to sit next to your cow at the sale, and your cow looks over at you the entire time like,
I just not got it with all that in times. Not if we beat by a super one that's how I can know when you beat like not sitting deep when it keep by deep. I didn't even need a we the fuck we preheat that is all. I did that no other scene. When I'm myself and I can keep it ease on my beat. Rain, I said your dream if it's streets. I'm on my form with it going and I left it dream. Behind the scenes, not a plan. Struggles and setbacks, who gives a damn? Rejections and friends, they know it well. But they rise from the ashes, breaking the spell. Let the madness that dive right into the souls of characters they begin. Crafting emotions, flowing true. Breathing life into tales, all the new. Spotlight dreams on the silver screen. Actors and actresses living the scene. From drama to comedy, they play the part. Captivating hearts, igniting the spark. Some legends, oh, the stars of today. Their stories inspired in every way, bringing worlds to life with every line. In the hearts of fans, they eternally shine. So here's to the actors, the queens and the kings. With each role they take, a new adventure springs. In the realm of imagination, they reign supreme, living out their passion in the spotlight. Dreams on the silver screen. Actors and actresses living the scene. From drama to comedy, they play the part. Captivating hearts, igniting the spark.
and does not enjoy the sale at all. Even though she's the one that wanted to go to the sale. And she's especially mad because that farmer and cow met like 8 months after you guys met. Why buy the cow? Well, let's be real here. You're very lucky to have the cow that you do have. Roping in cows and getting milk out of them was never anything you were known for, John. By the most liberal of estimates, there have been about 8 cows total, several unmilked, and a lot of people think that you like bulls, and if you just they assume it. When you search your name, the third thing to come up is like John Mulaney bull, question mark? And if you just bought the cow, nobody would say that anymore. They'll still say it. Because there are those guys who they buy a cow and then on the side, total matador. But for real, Chicago, why buy the cow? Let's be real. Why buy the cow? Because you love her. You really do. And yeah. Sure, she's a bossy little Jew, but she takes care of you, and you don't want to be some old man stumbling around like, hey, you seen any loose milk?